welcome back to another episode of Single in the City. I am your lovely co-host, Tiara Berry, joined by my favorite co-hosts, Genesis Moore and Justin Gilbert. And we're so excited for tonight's conversation. So, one of my favorite segments to start out with is asking for a friend. So, today's question from one of our friends is, what are the different levels of dating? What does that look like?
Yikes.
It'd almost be easier to think of them as phases. Like when I think about a building, of course, you start with the foundational elements and then you build on that foundation. So if it were looked at it in phases, we could say building phase. Meeting phase, building phase,
Okay.
courtship, and decision phase.
I'm here for it.
Okay.
So you said meeting phase,
phase.
You gotta meet them.
building phase.
Yep.
So this is like, what's the building phase?
So building phase would be where you have mutually agreed that you deem each other worthy to invest in.
Okay.
You deem this situation something that seems to be somewhere you can both grow and you're both comfortable with how it's going. So at that point, you're building.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
And courting then becomes taking that phase a little bit more seriously.
Absolutely. I think once we get in courting into a courtship, now we're kind of being very intentional about where our destination is. Starting to kind of get there, right?
And then the decision, is that like when we getting married? Like that's when we get the ring?
That's when, yes, yes. Everyone's favorite stage. Well, the ladies anyway, right?
I mean, it should be the guys too. We the prize.
Ooh,
Come on.
we're both the prize.
Everybody's surprised.
Yeah, we
Everybody's
are all
surprised.
prizes under the sun. So,
We are prizes in God's eyes.
but seriously, with that being said, it seems like a lot of us, when we talk about the different stages of dating, don't get past the stage of meeting or the building. We don't even get the chance to build.
Well, it's like, how long, my question is, how long is the meeting phase? Like, when is a time where somebody says, like, I feel like I've gotten to know you enough to know that I want to build something with you? And then, like, maybe, Justin, you can help us with this, but, like, what goes on in a guy's head to be like, this is somebody I want to build with?
That's a great question. I think it's definitely on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
But I think it's after you've established some very solid foundation in terms of things you've experienced, how things look through your lens, why you think the way you do. Can I share things with you? How do you respond to things? Like, I think once a guy's kind of hit those targets and determines that a woman is, someone that can work with him, that he can work with, then we now go from meeting to building.
And what does the timeline for that look like? Because I think a lot of women tend to meet men and they think within the first 30 days, they know if they can see a future. And some guys feel like it takes 30 years. So give us a gauge of what the timeline looks like in dating.
That is completely case by case. It's no one size fits all thing. You know what I'm saying? Like when you know, right?
The ambiguity for me.
That's the nature of dating, though,
Well,
right?
I think men sometimes know before women do.
I
Like,
think
I don't
so,
think
too.
it takes men a very long time to be like,
I think women wonder more.
I want you.
Yeah.
But how do they want you? And do they know enough about you to really know that they want you?
See, I think men are conquerors. And I think in the very beginning, they go after what they want because y'all pray and then y'all kill. And then once you figure out how much is it going to take for me to get her, y'all decide on what level of investment she's worth.
ooh,
But I'm
that's
not
really
a man. That's
good.
why you're here.
That's interesting.
I like that, though. I agree with that. Like, once you really get up on her, then you say, I'm willing to go 100% or 80%, because sometimes men will try to shortchange you, too.
Yep.
Really?
After they get you, though. Because
After
they'll
they
do it
get you.
all to get you.
Yep, and then they shortchange you after that, and then they expect for that to become your standard of dating, and
Right.
now that you with him, 80% is the cap. Not everything is not if there was 100% to get.
And see, that's why men need to allow women to earn their 100% instead of offering it out the gate. Because this is the situation that you end up with. You've done too much spoiling, too much. So the expectation is there that you will do all of these things. And it's not as special as it would have been had you waited. But that's another, topic for another day.
Okay, but waited till when? Is it like waited until we got to the building stage?
Absolutely, because then you've determined that she is worthy of these things. How can I pour into someone and I haven't determined that they're worthy of that? And then, once I determine like, oh, I don't feel comfortable doing this thing, or it's not reciprocated in a way that makes me feel like this makes sense for me to do this. I feel some type of loss or some kind of emotionally bankrupt after I
You
give
need a
these
return on the
things.
investment.
It's no ROI.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? So if we're going
You
there,
put the glasses on
there's
for
a
the
lot to
ROI.
He said, okay.
I need a pipe. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's tough to kind of determine when is right. This is all case by case and all based on, I just had a thought. I think that a lot of times we as men are looking for trust when women are looking for emotional connection. So we're looking to be trusted. So sometimes we're looking to break down walls and have
I see that,
conversations about your childhood and where you've been, where you're from. But women are wanting that emotional investment. Say you'll be in a relationship with me. Say I'm the only one you're dating. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, wait, we haven't, it's a trade-off. And that a lot of times is that impasse that men and women encounter when we're kind of pre-building phase.
Pre-building, yeah.
Well, I don't all the way agree with that because I think that there are a lot of men that are guarded too.
Okay.
And then they get through to you're trying to build up that trust with them because I'm naturally, now this is just for me, I am naturally, I can admit, a guarded person when I first meet someone, right? I'm not very much so, let me tell you all my business and everything about me. Because I want you to love me. No, that's not me.
Yeah.
I'm like, what you doing? What you got going on? Why are you doing it like that? Type of person. So then when I get to a point where I think like, okay, this person might be enough for me to invest that level of trust in them, it doesn't always, then men sometimes can get very guarded and then then it becomes like a battle of the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then if you're not in sync on the timing of now I'm ready to open up, but now you're closed off, so now I don't want to do it anymore. It gets weird.
This happens every day.
And then so then what do? Do you just throw it away? Do you ever get
I
to
don't
the
know.
next phase?
I think we have to consider the fact that we don't pay enough attention to the timing when we're dealing with people, when we're dating, when we're getting to know them, when we have what we want versus what they have what they want. I think when it comes to dating and relationships, we don't really explore where people are in their lives. Are they ready for this right now? Are they ready for what you want? And how soon enough or late enough is it for you to present what you want and they present what they want and you guys have that conversation? Is that something that you talk about on a first date?
Definitely not.
Not a first date. I think, but I do think that it's important to talk about it in the meeting stage. In that way, not everybody's time is wasted. So it's like maybe around like the third or fourth date, it should be a conversation on what are you really looking for? Where are you at just in your life? And I think a lot of times some people can go into it where I want to be married, but it's like you've done none of the personal work that it takes to be married.
Or you just got out of a relationship, or you just got out of a marriage and you want to be married again?
It's like I want $1 million like right now, but do I have the capacity, the bandwidth to really know what it's like to pay taxes on that?
Right.
Do I know what it's like to, So it's so many different things. Everything comes with a learning curve and a level of investment that you have to put in as far as from a knowledge perspective, on yourself. Like just know what you want,
Yes.
So I think it's something that should be definitely discussed, but it should also be a two-part conversation on what are you doing to kind of make that
happen.
dream a reality, you know?
Yeah.
Wow, that was absolutely thought-provoking, Genesis. Wow, thank you. Stay with us, folks. We're gonna take a brief commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages.
We're going to talk about something that you hear more and more about today. Seems like you hear about it more than we ever did before, and that's dementia.
It's not just old folks' disease. It's not just old folks need to worry about it. Anyone can get dementia. You can get it as, we have people that's in their 20s and 30s that have been diagnosed with it. And then also, if you don't have dementia, you may be a family caregiver or care partner, and you're still impacted, and you still need to know about the disease so you can be able to better support your family or friend that is living with dementia.
Y'all didn't know the answer to this, but John P. Key is your name, but what does the P stand for?
The P actually stands for Prince. Dr. Scott and Brian Scott, years ago when I signed my first deal, they ran with it and started the Prince of Gospel, but that's where it came from. Lizzie and John named me John Prince Key.
All right, so now I kind of want to switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody's talking about dating and where we're going, what we're doing. I want to talk about the difference between entanglements and situationships. Let's be clear about what that is.
All types of ships. Shipwrecking over here.
Titanic, man. Especially if you live in Atlanta.
Yikes.
Yeah, all over the world.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough.
I think when I think about an entanglement, I think about the fact you're trying to be as upfront with everyone as possible. When I think of entanglement, I think of multiple people.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're literally tangled within something that feels bigger than yourself. You're trying to please other people. You're trying to please yourself. It's the old term having your cake and eating it too, if you ask me. But similar to having your cake and eating it too, you can be in a situationship. So I think there are some lines that cross with those, but I think a situationship is between you and one other person and what you have going on. And I think an entanglement is what you have going on with several different people that you're trying to make work.
I agree.
That's very
And you
good.
know, I don't know if you guys saw this on social media, but Kirk Franklin had this video where he's talking about when the guy gets married and he's had these different types of women in his life while he was dating that one woman. And then you get married and you put all that pressure on her and how she crumbles under that pressure. Did you guys see that video?
I did see something like that.
So I look at that as a perfect example to describe like entanglements. Like entanglements are things where, like you said, like we're dating, but we've been dating like, you've been dating me and 5 other women this whole entire time. We have not gotten out of one of these phases of dating, you know? We are stuck. And because we're stuck, now it's causing all these different emotions out of me.
Yeah.
Emotions out of you that you might not even be willing to give because of my emotions.
Wow.
You know, and now we're in this kind of like phase of, do we stay together? Do we not? Should we just call it a quits? Like, you know, what it is?
Do we cut everyone off for each other?
When does that happen?
When does that happen? When do I say, you know what, I'm done. I'm out the league. I'm done playing. It's just you.
Justin, when do y'all say that?
Courtship phase.
Courtship.
Oh, courtship. Okay.
Okay.
Courtship phase.
This
In
is
which
third
comes
phase.
Yes.
directly after meeting and then building.
So
Yeah.
meeting, building, now we're in courtship. Now you have said,
I'm
You
focused.
are my lady.
Come on.
That's what you said, right?
Yeah, that's the one. So I think the difference between these situationships and relationships or whatever, that's not it. What is it? Situationships and entanglements.
Yeah.
I think, okay, first of all, they're all relationships. And the only difference between any relationship, the one we have with our postman, with our parents, is the parameters and the expectations. Okay. So while I can totally, first of all, I think you put it down so good right there, Tiara. Like it's trying to manage these multiple things.
Yeah.
And then that situationship is, I guess, is that in the building phase? Is this pre-courtship?
It is. I think it's, honestly, I think a situationship can even occur after that. I think the situationship is that 3/4 of a decision. Because the situationship is, look, I don't want to do this without you. I just don't know if I can always do it with you.
Oh,
You
that's
know what I'm
good.
saying?
That's really good.
I can't live without you. But can I live with you forever?
Can I live in the same house with you?
Can we do this for a long time?
Yeah.
And I think that that's something, as young people specifically, we feel like we have forever to go in life. And I feel like as you see those older players stop playing and they realize they got to settle down because they get older and they need somebody, to be there beside them, because they always say the player days is over. But at a young age, people feel like you could be in a situationship for 2-3 years because you have so much time left to live. So
Yeah.
what do I look like settling down right now?
I think, though, a key thing is situationships, from my perspective, seem to be imbalanced. They're never like a balanced way of dating. It's always like somebody is more invested than the other person, or there's
Right.
like a disconnect on what you want, what I
what are we
want,
doing?
but we're still here because
Right.
we feel like it's, you're giving me 60% and I don't, if we're going off
Yeah.
the 100 scale, and it's like, I don't really want to go back to 0. I mean, I've been here for 2 years, 3 years. Do I really want to give up that time? Maybe you'll change next year. Maybe something in your life will happen. So I think that's the imbalance of a
Yeah.
situationship, is kind of like the waiting on the other person to come around.
To come up. So Justin, do you feel like you've been in situations as the man at the table where a woman has been giving more than you've been giving and felt pressure to come up to where she is, or try to level set her to come down to where you are?
Great question.
That's a great question. I have not experienced a situation like that. I think because the clarity and communication going into these things is paramount, so that everyone has
That's
an
true.
expectation, even if it's something that they don't necessarily want to
Right.
hear. Now, I have had women where I've given them very clear communication about where I'm at, what I desire right now. And, they've still proceeded as though I've told them we're in, courtship phase. You know what I'm saying?
So they
So you
weren't
gotta
listening.
steer her back into the direction.
Well, I mean, how often it's very uncomfortable conversations, but you say things to try to level set
Right.
and remind folks of what was discussed initially, and even give them some bad news from time to time. Hey, where you at? I'm actually here with my friend, or I actually, I have something to do. I'm actually going this place with this person. You know what I'm saying? Just to try to give
As if
them
the opposite sex, you're going somewhere with
yes,
somebody else.
and be very honest about that,
Wow.
rather than ducking
Players
and
gonna
dodging.
play.
Man, but I'm not gonna lie though, it's a lot. I'm gonna tell you another difference is though too. I can understand that a lot better because I think a lot of women would be a little bit more accepting of the truth if they're more logical, about how they view the situation. But then if you're caught up in what you want it to be in your imagination, like, because sometimes as women, what we do is we like, this is my man, we're gonna get married in 2 years, we're gonna have our first baby, is gonna be a boy, his name is gonna be Harold. And then from there, we're
Yeah.
gonna have a little girl. And then for the guy, they're like, whoa,
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
back to reality. I don't want those things. You want those things. You're putting that on me. But when you have that certain level of communication, I think for men, it's a lot more women that would respect that as opposed to the line.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not only gonna respect it, I'm gonna reciprocate it. And I think that's when men start
when it
to
gets
feel some
toxic.
type of way. Because now we in a toxic situation
very
because
true.
you
That is
going
when it
out
gets
with her on
toxic.
Thursday, and I'm gonna say, what restaurant y'all went to? And I'm gonna be dead with somebody else on Friday.
See,
It's the
And the
what's
same waitress gonna be like,
It's the
y'all
one
gonna
up.
come here together on Saturday.
but the thing is, we're not the same. And yeah, you could do what we do, but what's your why behind why you're doing it? And it's not allowing you to show up authentically in whatever situationship that is, or whatever you got going on there.
Be in balance.
So you know what I'm saying? So
I just think it's about managing expectations because I'm not gonna be sitting at home waiting for somebody to call me and I know they out with somebody else.
Then they don't need to be your man.
Yeah, he not.
exactly, he's not.
He's not.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm saying like, here's what I think.
Okay.
And maybe this just comes from me kind of like, I've had different types of relationships with different types of people, you know? So if something like that, I think that's a huge part of knowing yourself. If that's a deal breaker and that's not the type of relationship that you see yourself being in, and it's almost like soil. Like, women, we're flowers,
Yeah.
If that type of soil that man is providing is not giving you the best opportunity to grow into who you want to be,
Right.
it's okay to be like, love
I'm
you, but
good.
not right now. What
Yeah.
Erykah Badu say? Next lifetime.
Yeah.
And
I
walk
think
away.
I think once you walk away, and even though I was having fun with it, you match that energy. They're gonna do something. It's not gonna stay the same. They're either gonna leave you alone or they're gonna step
Yeah.
up. But they're not gonna keep wondering if you out with somebody else while they're dealing with you. Because men are too territorial to act like that. They gotta
Yeah.
know, are you theirs or are you not? They always have to know. Women, we can live in the ambiguity because we want them so much and we have those feelings
So
and
true.
emotions. But men tend to be more logical when it comes to relationships. You either my girl or you not my girl.
Or you know what? Here's Justin's favorite word. Territorial
Yeah.
when it comes to those things.
Come on,
Men
Alpha.
tend
He had
to
the
be
whole
a
acronym
little
on the
bit
last
more.
episode.
He did. They
Listen.
tend to be a little more territorial, especially when it comes to women.
Nah,
sometimes.
this is all cap. Like the caps lock has been hit, and this is just not true. Everyone knows that women are more territorial than men.
That's another story for a different day.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a lot of times women might get into these situations because they are thinking about the potential of the person instead of the reality of what is and what this person has shown you. So you know what
Okay.
I'm saying? And I think that's you guys nurturing ability coming alive. That's a beautiful thing, but sometimes it leads you to funny places.
Well, while you're right there, Justin, everybody, we are so happy that we are having this conversation. But look, we're going to go to a brief commercial break and we'll be right back with more Single in the City.
But that was one of my favorite moments of this season.
Oh my God.
Look, and Maria is turning red over here.
Right. He just went in on me for real. I'm like, oh my God.
What's up, House of Hope? It's the Flavor King, and welcome back to Cooking with Flavor KL. You know what time it is. It's time for me to show you how to make chili.
How do you decide what is a priority at the moment versus something that you can complete at a later date?
What feels right in the moment? Because sometimes it's like, okay, this is really high on my priority list, but I really just don't feel like it. But I think that in order to be productive is like, do what's best for what you feel like in the moment. So if this easier task is easier for you, do that and then tackle the harder task.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Single in the City. We now have been having like the best conversation. I'm really, really enjoying this, but about the different levels of dating. And we got some questions from some of our viewers, and I want to see what you guys think, okay?
Let's go.
Number one is, do you say on a first date you're dating to marry? Is that something that you overtly say, I'm here and I'm dating to marry?
I say no. I think that gives way to some, like, I think that provides some type of, it seems kind of a bit serious. And it seems...
too much expectation.
Too much expectation. And that kind of gives me vibes like...
Get an appetizer. Listen, just chill. Do you like salsa or do you like ranch? You know?
Ease me into it.
Let's just have something first before we go into the I love yous.
I don't like that at all, I'll be honest. I think it's a little boxy. And when I say boxy, I mean like, you know, these are my boxes. I'm trying to check. I want to get married. It's by this time. Do you do this, and this? Or are you this, and this? And then it's like all this unwarranted pressure to the other person. Like, let me try to be this way because this is what this person is looking for.
Yeah.
Am I stupid if I don't?
I remember on a first date, and it's the person that I've been with them for a while. And on the first date, they told someone, either she's my wife or like, I want to marry her, or something like that. But it was so playful, but it was cute, it was fun. But you could see
that's cute.
It was something there, but it didn't mean that we were together at that moment. But I think you can kind of see the direction you want to go with the person. You don't just always know how fast or where to, but you know the direction. And I think that's attractive from a guy, especially. So if he says, you know what, I could see a future with you, maybe, possibly, or you seem like you could be wifey material or something along that, to show that
that's okay,
furthered interest, to say you're not like most girls that I've seen for a while. I think that's important, and that's something really nice to say, but it doesn't mean that we've made a commitment. It's just, I like you.
I think that's impossible to determine on the first date, whether someone is like the other girls or not. Because again, everyone's putting their best foot forward and their representative is the one that you're entertaining.
So you've been bamboozled.
I have definitely been, I've had people attempt to bamboozle me, you know what I'm saying? I didn't.
He said, no, wait a minute.
You know, I've learned a thing or two. And I think putting that marriage thing on it or saying what your intentions are from the outset, it kind of limits where that relationship can go, because you might have great chemistry as business partners or have some other type of connection. Everything doesn't have to be romantic, and people think that attractions automatically mean that we're going to, it's got to be romantic. You know what I'm saying? We could literally have a taco truck, you know what I'm saying? But we flow well together and we get each other.
We make money together.
You know what I'm saying? It could totally be that.
I want to make money with you.
Which is why people have those work wives and work husbands all the time.
I mean, hey, it's a thing. Okay, so look, let's get to our next one. I love how we were talking about this before the show, but is texting on a first date, is that rude? Like if you're constantly on your phone.
Yikes.
Or what is the number of times that you... What is the number of times allotted to pick up your phone on a first date?
Who's counting?
See?
We know where T fall.
Clearly. I say when the date is good, you're not even thinking about your phone.
Oh, so, that's a good point.
You know,
that's a good point.
So it's a matter of like...
She's not finding it.
And then... sometimes there are reasons why people are on their phone. Like there has been situations where I've been on a date, but I've been expecting a phone call or replying to some emails like, I've got a thing going on. I will tell that person, hey, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the middle of kind of conducting some business, maybe ironing out some
and see,
details.
I'm attracted to busy people. So if your phone we spend all day together, and your phone didn't ring once, you didn't get no phone calls, you up to something, this your burner device, you got a wife and kid, because somebody's gonna call you today.
Oh, that's it. Even
if it's a scam, likely, I gotta see that phone ring.
Look, that poses a good question too. Like if he has two phones, should you have both numbers? But that's not what was on the agenda to talk about.
See? Ooh. See, now you meddling. Now y'all meddling. Uh-huh.
That's how they
I
feel.
deserve to have both numbers.
That's what I'm saying.
And if
'cause-
I don't reach you on one, I'm gonna call you on the other one.
See,
and I mean, why you got 2 phones if you're not gonna answer them? But that's neither here nor there.
Ooh.
Well, okay, so next question. When or should you make it clear that you're not the only one? So when or if, I think that is a better way to ask that. Like, should you ever make it clear? Like, hey, I'm not just dating you, I'm dating you and 3 other
I think
people.
you should only make it clear, and this is a little X-rated,
This is a good question, though.
when you're intimate.
Oh. Oop, later in the season.
If you're not putting my my health and safety at risk, we gonna hurt each other's feelings.
Well, see, a lot of people, though, don't feel like that should even come up until it is overtly said, we are together. And if we're going by Bible standards, to you, Mary, but
Okay.
When you do it,
let's do it.
My thinking is that conversation should be had initially and only brought back up once something changes. I'm dating, I'm doing this until I get into courtship phase where I say, I want to only focus on you.
I just want to make it clear, though, these questions are geared towards men that I think people think it's a different type of man that's out here. Maybe what we're picking up out of the bag. Because in this, some men that I know I've come across, they are not leadership oriented like that to even have a conversation. Like I said before, they would rather, be sneaky as opposed to, or be afraid to have that level of a conversation with a woman out of fear of hurting her feelings.
right? And
or-
sometimes, I mean, maybe I'm just old school, and I feel like what you don't know don't hurt you, unless it's hurting you. Now, it's
like, mind your business.
But it does depend on the phases that you're in. When we go on our first date, I'm not sitting here asking you, are you seeing somebody else? Are you doing this? Now, if you have a girlfriend, that's a red flag.
Facts.
But if we all have situationships, and we can't act like we don't. There's always somebody that if they call us right now, we might duck off and answer the phone, and we might not have a future with them or see a future with them. But I think there's always somebody that's still around while we're single, and we can't act like that's not true.
Well, I'll even take it a step further. I think it does sometimes based off of socioeconomic status
And options.
Because
socioeconomic status can dictate your options.
So if I do, and me and my friends, this is me being very transparent right now. We have like a little saying. It's called RMP, rich man privilege.
Oh, man.
Like sometimes when you're dating men with money, they have like, I just had this conversation with a friend the other day. You're dating somebody who's got a lot of money. He might have other options. He's never made it a thing to you, so I wouldn't go looking for it if it ain't really come to find you. But
it depends on the type of rich man, because a lot of people with money be corny. So he might think he have options, but it's only options because he's paying them to be an option.
Still an option.
I guess. But you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
It's like a lot of guys with money are corny. So it's like, I don't want you just because you got money.
Well, no, I'm just saying, though, like, that's just one element of why
Now, if he bossed
it's not
up
something
and
that's
he
always
cool
talked
and
about.
he dope, and you could tell by the way that he moves that it's the socioeconomic status is there because he get into it versus just he got money, And I think that's the most attractive part is he's on his way somewhere and you can fall in love with that.
Yeah.
But I think just because you have money doesn't make you cool.
I don't think so either.
They be more whack than anything.
I don't think it makes you cool, but I do think sometimes like that I know a lot of women, like this is just the harsh reality that women never talk about, you never going for a guy that, is like, I want to give you a comfortable life.
Right.
Women, we be like, we want to be bossed up.
Extravagant.
We want the extra, all this stuff. So when you kind of like, I had to tell her, I was like, you dating in that pool? You kind of you swimming with the sharks, you gotta be, ready to have what comes with
men
it.
will fall in love with women who want the most out of life, but don't necessarily need that man to get them there.
Egg,
So right
I agree.
now, like I'm in the process of trying to buy a house. And
Okay,
all the
cool.
guys that I'm dating think
You're
it's-
buying a house.
I am buying a house. I
Yeah.
am pre-qualified, y'all.
Go,
Won't you
girl.
do it?
Yeah.
But the guys that I'm dating know that with or without them, I'm gonna have me a house.
Yeah.
And they are attracted to the fact that I'm young and willing to do it on my own, and I'm not waiting for someone else.
That's beautiful.
And it has nothing to do with exactly how much I make or what my house even looks like. It's just the simple fact that I'm willing to do things for myself, and that shows the character traits.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what women should be attracted to, is a man that is on a mission to do things, and a man should be attracted to a woman that's on a mission to do things. And if they could build
Purpose.
together, great, awesome. But you don't need them as a meal ticket to get somewhere, and the guy doesn't see you as an opportunist.
Indeed.
Exactly.
I think it's important to insert here that the woman that asks for nothing gets everything.
Right.
That is so true. I agree with that.
So he gonna get you flowers, ladies, just not on the first, second, or third date.
You got to build up to it.
Stay down long
'Cause
enough.
where
You
we
come up.
doing? You build it. What is it?
It's
Meeting.
building, courtship, and decision.
And what's the decision?
Yes or no? At that point,
I do
will
or
you-
no?
will-
Or?
I do or no.
don't.
I do or don't.
You know what I'm saying?
So that do his part or
In
not.
the sight of God.
That
Dearly
is
beloved,
hilarious.
we are gathered here today.
Well, look, that's our time, everybody. We have thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Yes.
And please tune in to us for next week. Once again, I'm your host, Genesis Moore, my lovely co-host, Tiara Berry, Mr. Justin C. Gilbert, and we will see you all next week for another episode of Single in the City. Good night.
You're my lucky strike. Love the way you